To quote Sun Tzu's The Art of War, and you'd be surprised how often I do that, the greatest victory is that which requires no battle. But to quote literally me though, the greatest victory is that which makes your opponents look like complete chumps. You see, it's not enough to simply win the Premier League. I mean, even Blackburn have managed that, but the key is to win it by absolutely miles. That's how you get remembered in this game, and arguably even more important than that, that's how you qualify for this list. I'm Adam Cleary, this is 442, and these are the 10 most dominant Premier League champions ever. Number 10, Manchester United, 1994. A mere 2 weeks into the 93-94 season, Manchester United went away to Aston Villa and won thanks to 2 goals from Lee Sharp, remember him. This win sent them to the top of the league, and there they stayed for the remaining 38 games of that season. With Eric Cantona somehow getting a 5-match ban for sending offs in consecutive games, Alan Shearer's Blackburn almost offered a title chase. But despite cutting their lead to mere goal difference at one point, ultimately came up some 8 points short. Womp womp. The title was secured with a 2-1 victory away to Ipswich Town, and only defeat to Aston Villa in the League Cup final prevented them from doing a domestic treble. Not bad. Number 9, Leicester City, 2016. I think everyone thinks about Leicester's shock Premier League win as something of a plucky underdog story, but even a cursory revision of the numbers that year shows that in reality, they battered everyone. Despite starting the season as candidates for relegation, they romped home to the title with an astounding 10 points to spare and only 3 defeats all season. 3. Leicester, 3 defeats all season. That is astonishing. And yeah, sure, they were helped by several of the usual contenders having disastrous seasons. Man United were 5th, Liverpool were 8th, and Chelsea were 10th, but their 81-point haul would have had them there or thereabouts in both the previous 2 seasons. Annoyingly for a fairy tale, they clinched the title not by actually playing, but by Chelsea stopping Spurs taking all 3 points in one of the final games of the season. Although judging by the celebrations, I don't think anybody cared even one bit. Number 8, Manchester United, 2001. Just the 10-point winning margin for Manchester United 2 years after they won the treble, and it likely could have been a lot more had they not somehow lost the last 3 games of the season. And just the 60 goals that campaign for the forward options of Teddy Sheringham, Andy Cole, Dwight York and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as well as one of David Beckham's most prolific seasons in Manchester with 9. Arsenal offered something of a challenge, but were practically as close to Man United in 1st as they were to Sunderland in 7th, so not exactly what you'd call close, and the Gunners getting thumped 3-0 at home somehow by Middlesbrough handed the title to Ferguson. For a change. Number 7, oh good, it's Man United again, 2013. Yeah, look, right, Man United are on this list a lot because, to be blunt, Alex Ferguson was very good at building some of the all-time great teams. But the thing is, right, the thing about this team, the thing is, they weren't one of them. Sure, you've got Rio Ferdinand and Wayne Rooney in here, but where a few years prior they were in a team with Tevez, Vidic and Ronaldo, here they were lining up with Tom Cleverley, Danny Welbeck and Phil Jones. That Ferguson managed to extract not only a tune, but an emphatically championship-winning one out of them might honestly be the most impressive thing he did in his entire time at that club. And how did he do it, do you ask? Well, it was very simple. He stole Robin van Persie from Arsenal, and 30 goals later, voila! They had the worst defence in the entire top 4, but still somehow managed 20 goals and 11 points more than Manchester City in 2nd. Van Persie's hat-trick against Aston Villa, including, yes, that volley, sealed the title in spectacular fashion, and football's it's just really simple sometimes, isn't it? Number 6, Manchester City, 2021. Yeah, Guardiola and the boys were barely challenged for the Premier League in 20/21, with Manchester United, their closest competitor, a dismal 12 points behind. Impressive, sure, but insanely so when you consider that on Christmas Day, they were somehow 8th in the league. Yep. And yet, still, somehow it became a record-breaking season. They achieved a remarkable winning streak of 82 days from December to March. They completed the most consecutive wins by a top-flight English team in all competitions ever at 21. They went 28 games unbeaten overall and set the record for consecutive away league wins at 12. There's a life lesson in there somewhere about not giving up and just doing your best. I don't know, find it yourself. Number 5, Chelsea, 2005. Now, while it was immediately clear that new boss Jose Mourinho wasn't exactly lacking in self-confidence, many in England still wondered whether he had the skills to back up his special claims.
I'm not one of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
And he did, yes, because Chelsea promptly beat Manchester United in his first league game in charge, didn't lose one until October, and then managed to avoid defeat for the entire rest of the season. They amassed a scarcely believable 95 points and shipped a ludicrous 15 goals. In fact, they were tighter at the back than... Oh, sorry, 2 seconds. Hello? Oh, hello, my lawyer. You don't want me to do that joke. Okay. It was Chelsea's first title in 50 years and was achieved away to Bolton in late April thanks to, fittingly, a brace from Frank Lampard. The feeling at the time was that with this sort of team, having this sort of manager and that sort of financial clout, that next season was probably just a foregone conclusion, and lo and behold, let me check, yes it was. Number 4, Arsenal, 2004. It says an awful lot about the teams currently occupying our top 3 spots here that this Arsenal side, who no other team beat across an entire season, are somehow only sitting in 4th. Now immortalised as the Invincibles, I'm sure you've probably heard of them, they did something that no side had managed since Preston in 1889, the year the drinking straw was invented. Astoundingly, they went into 2004 somehow trailing Manchester United, but a mid-January 2-0 win at Aston Villa the day after United had suffered a shock defeat to Wolves moved them triumphantly to the top of the table, and there they stayed. Thierry Henry managed 30 goals, which obviously helped, but in truth this 11-point winning margin was enabled more by the perfect balance of beauty and guile afforded by the squad as a whole. And just to make the perfect season even more perfecter, I think is a word, they won the league of all places at White Hart Lane. Number 3, Liverpool, 2020. Arguably one of the most imperious and dominant title wins in the history of English football, Liverpool finished the season 18 points ahead of second place Manchester City, but 33 points ahead of Manchester United in third. And all this despite the 2019-2020 season being disrupted by... well, you remember the Zoom calls, the sourdough, the hand sanitizer, let's not relive all that now. In fact, before that whole carry-on started, they were an eye-watering 25 points ahead of Manchester City and had won 27 times after 29 games, which is, frankly, ridiculous. Their nearest challengers battering them 4-0 at the restart did nothing but deny them a triple-figure points haul, finishing on 99. But I mean, it's just typical though, isn't it? You wait 30 years for a league title, and not only does it happen without you kicking a ball after Chelsea defeat Man City, but it happens also at a time when you're technically not even allowed within 2 meters of your own dad. Number 2, Manchester United, 2000. Now, I'm not sure if they've ever mentioned it, but the 1998-1999 season was a pretty big deal for Manchester United on account of them winning a domestic and European treble. But whereas they were just 1 point clear of Arsenal that year, they followed up in 99-2000 with an 18-point winning margin. A 1-0 victory over Middlesbrough in January moved the Red Devils into first place, and they remained there for the entire remainder of the season, losing just one of their final 18 fixtures. They wrapped up their 6th and easily most convincing Premier League title with a 3-1 win away to Southampton, but just, I'm pretty impressed here, Adam, but is there anything you can say to somehow make this more of an achievement? Well, yeah, it's funny you should ask that, actually, because I can. They had Mark Bosnich in goal, and this was the Massimo Taibbi season. Wow. And number 1, Manchester City 2018. Not to sound like Dr. Evil here, but 100 points. That is over 2.6 points per game. Second place Manchester United's 81-point haul would have been enough to actually win them the league in previous seasons, but still left them 19 points adrift here. Just to really hammer this home, okay, you would have to have given them another 7 games, all of which they'd need to win for them to catch City. That is ridiculous. And they broke all kinds of records that season as well. Most away points at 50, most wins at 32, most away wins at 16, most goals at 106, biggest goal difference at plus 79, most consecutive wins at 18, most consecutive away wins at 11, and the joint earliest Premier League title win with 5 games to spare. Aguero, Sterling, Jesus and Sane all struck double figures, and even Fernandinho, a man whose name translates from Portuguese as "I just pass it sideways, yes boss," got 5. Now, technically they secured the title when Manchester United suffered a shock home defeat to West Brom, but in truth it was over as a contest when they battered Watford 6-0 away and went to the top of the table in only the 5th game of the season. That is, plain and simple, how you do it. And that's it, that's the video. Thank you so very much for watching and making it all the way till the end. Somebody's keen. While you're here, please do consider subscribing to the 442 YouTube channel. We've got loads of awesome football content dropping all through the week, as well as an amazing library of documentaries, player interviews and performance guides as well. Until next time though, thank you once again for watching. I do hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.